Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Detour podcast. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. As you could tell, I finally have some stuff in my living room. I got some pictures on the wall. Unfortunately, they're a little out of frame. And I got a nice comfy couch I can sit on, have guests on. You can see Arlo's butt right here. But I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. Before I get into today's topic, I want to do a weekly recap. So far, as you could tell, got some furniture, settling in. I've been running more, and I recently hit, I think it was Tuesday last week, I recently hit a new 5K PR of 29 minutes, 9 seconds. So I'm actually super stoked about that because my goal was to hit a sub 30 5K, which is running a bit faster than 10 minutes per mile. And I've never really been able to run that fast, but I hit that while running. I'm pretty sure it was like a 5-mile interval training. Let me pull it up. But yeah, I've been following kind of the suggestions my Garmin watch has for me, but the activity was, interval training. So it was like a 10-minute warm-up at a 10:30 pace, and then I do 3 sets of running at like an 8:58 pace for 9 minutes, and then a little rest in between, and then a cool down of the exact same thing as a warm-up. But yeah, I ran for 5.15 miles, and my average pace over the entire thing was 10 minutes and 21 seconds because I kind of started slowing down at the end there. But yeah, no, hit my fastest 5K running way further than 3 miles, so I'm pretty impressed about that. The rest of this week, let's see. I don't know. Started my 75 hard, and I remember talking about that last episode. It's been kind of rough. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I thought the first week would be the easiest one to get into because when you start new habits, you're a little bit more excited, more motivated to get everything done. And then later on in the challenge, you kind of struggle a bit. Now I'm struggling hard. I realize that I'm expecting myself to get so much done in every single day that I just don't have time to do. But I went to the gym 3 times. I ran 2 times. And then I've edited some videos. I've been eating really good. I've been drinking loads of water. Kind of all the big things. Sleeping's been so hard for me because of everything I'm trying to fit in my day. It ends up pushing my sleep to like 10:30, 11, and I just don't get enough sleep. I think Saturday night to Sunday was the most sleep I've gotten, which was like 8 hours and 11 minutes. So I gotta push to try and do better at that. And I didn't practice guitar once. But it's only week 1 of the 75 hard, so we will definitely improve as we go along. And then, I forgot another one, reading. I've been reading this book. I've mentioned it multiple times in previous episodes, but for some reason, now, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the apartment, maybe it's the mindset, but I sit down and I'll read like 15, 20 pages a pop, and I don't even feel like I read that many. And then I almost kind of get lost in the fact that, where did I even start from? And then I'll have to go back a bunch of pages. Like today, I read a full chapter, which is like 23 pages or something like that. And then I could tell my mind's starting to fade and wander off. But I don't know, pretty impressed. So I hope that continues because I enjoy reading, and I've noticed as I read, it's easier to read the words and not mumble them up or say the wrong thing. So other than that has actually been my entire weekly recap for you guys. I hope everyone is having a wonderful morning this Monday, a beautiful start to the week. And to get into the episode, I used to think, so I want to get into it because it's something I'm actually passionate about, but I used to think running was a punishment, but now I find it more like therapy. I want to talk today about why I run, why I love it, the benefits that come with running, and why I honestly suggest that you guys should try running. Because it's just, I don't know, it's beautiful. My mindset of when I used to run when I was younger to now has completely changed. So I kind of want to jump into that today. First things first, I think we might as well start with the juicy bits. Why I enjoy running. It's honestly kind of like the gym. Those of you who go to the gym, it's a challenge, but in a good way of like, you feel really good when you're done. And when you see the progress and see, like, for instance, you're running a bit faster or you could run longer, you end up actually realizing, holy crap, dude. Like, I'm killing it and I want to keep going, keep this momentum moving. I mean, and it's also like when I wake up on a Saturday and I end up running 5 miles before it's even like 9 o'clock in the morning. Well, I come home, eat breakfast, my day's just starting and I feel so accomplished. And I feel like that's a good thing that comes with like the gym as well. It's also a good one too, because nowadays I feel like social media and television and stuff like that is so instant gratification. So it's hard for us to slow down, be in our own thoughts and be comfortable with that. And I used to honestly, up until, let's see, this week or early last week, something like that, I used to have a really hard time with not having somebody to talk to me or not having something playing in my ears. But then I started finding myself being more motivated and pushing myself further. And then I actually am totally fine running by myself and being in my head. And I felt motivated the entire way. I didn't have any motivational problems. And I think it's a really good thing because you can be comfortable with your thoughts and you don't need, you know, everything to constantly be changing, so then you can get the gratification that comes with it. Just like reading a book isn't instant gratification. And I think that's maybe why I'm also enjoying reading more, because something clicked where I'm just not needing that as much. And it's honestly been really nice. And I don't know, I think nowadays we all could use a little bit more pump the brakes, let's stop, let's think about it, you know, let's enjoy our time, because I guarantee you, anybody who's watching this, all of you guys can, or listening to it, can agree that 2020 felt like yesterday. The whole COVID thing felt like yesterday, and it's 2026 now, and COVID's not even an issue. So it's crazy how fast time just goes. And I think because when COVID hit, it was one of those things of like, all right, now everything's on demand. You could stream movies, everything, you know, video games, TikTok's blowing up even more and all that stuff. So everything became instant. So then time just kind of melded together. And then now we're here, and life is kind of depressing because we don't know where the last 5 years of our life went. So I think it's a really good time to step back and enjoy the moments for what they're worth, because before you know it, you'll be, 50 years old and you'll be like, well, I was just 25. So another good one, just like the gym, is it really helps process your emotions. So if you're having problems with stress or anxiety, or you're getting very upset, anything like that, it's a good way to kind of like relieve all of that. Kind of like hit reset on your emotions and be like, you know what? I'm going to run. I'm going to push out those emotions so that by the time the run's over, I'm just going to be a completely different person. And then I'm going to choose how I'm going to go about my day. And that's why I like the weekend. My Saturday is like the best day, because when I get the run done, I feel great. Or like when I run on Tuesday right after work, I feel amazing. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I wish there was some way to make the day a little bit longer to run before I go to work, so that my day's just significantly better. But then that would mean I have to go to bed earlier, and I already struggle with that. So I really do think, a lot of those are some good reasons of why running could be good for you, and honestly is nice. And it's similar to the gym as well in the sense of it builds consistency and it shows that you can do hard things, because anything physical, building muscle, challenging yourself, anything like that, everything's going to be hard. And in the beginning, it always feels impossible. Working out or running, they just feel so hard. You can't lift heavy weights, or you can't run far or fast, and you kind of feel almost embarrassed to do so. But knowing that you keep at it and you hit those goals, well, now all of a sudden you're doing the impossible. What you thought was impossible like 2 months ago, you're doing right now. You're able to run that 5K. You're able to run that 10K. You're working up to a half marathon. Well, you ran a half marathon. You never realized you could run 13.1 miles in a row before. that's nuts. It's one of those things of like, it makes you feel like invincible, like you could do whatever you want to do. And I feel like that's a good mindset to have as well, because we all have goals and dreams and stuff, and feeling like nothing is too big, everything's going to be hard, but knowing that, well, I ran a half marathon, or I, did this or did that, will help you have that confidence to be like, you know what, I could totally do this. So I honestly feel like that's a good one. And I think one of the biggest things about this for me is how simple running as an activity is, because you'll probably buy running shoes, but you don't really need to spend too much on running shoes. If you have workout clothes, you can wear workout clothes, but that's really it. Like, you don't need much else to put into running. It's a very like simple, I feel like honestly kind of a cheap sport to do. And I don't know, that's why I like it, because I could just get in, I could just wear running shoes that I have, or pay $50-$60 for another pair of running shoes, and run with those, and then not feel like I have to spend like $5 bazillion. Like, honestly, my least favorite people, cyclists. They spend like thousands of dollars on bikes and helmets and gear and crap. And I'm like, running, you just get a pair of shoes, you just hit the pavement and you run. So sorry to the cyclists out there. And the only reason I hate cyclists is because, first of all, where I live in Utah, they don't make cycling lanes big enough for cyclists. So then the cyclists get in the car lane, and I'm like, it's a car, you're not a car. So it's kind of like, yeah, it is unfair for them, because they have bike lanes, but the bike lanes are like this and they're slanted in the gutter, and it's just depressing. But I just don't like cyclists. So I don't know, I think that's a really good, like, honestly, few things to look at when wanting to start something, especially running, because I guarantee you one of these things will hit you. Or, I mean, it seems like it's a trend right now. Everyone's having a quarter life crisis. You're cycling, running, rock climbing, like you're doing some sport, and it seems like everybody your age is doing that sport. And as sad as it is, I think I'm hitting that point, because I'm starting to get into bouldering as well. And Tanner, who you've seen on this podcast, a previous guest, I'm going to start bouldering with him, so we'll see how it actually goes. But yeah, I mean, I highly encourage it. The first couple of times running will be rough, but that is okay, because everything in the first bit is rough. You just need to push past that, and then you'll hit a point where all of a sudden it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier. Well, it's a little bit more fun. You get out there. The community, I mean, from what I've seen, is pretty dope. I actually haven't met anybody through running, so if any of you guys run, hit me up, because I would love to have some more running friends. So far, it's just my dad and Gavin. But yeah, I don't know. I think just the way that doing something simple like this can grow a community of people, and you can make friends and get to know people. It's just, I don't know. It's awesome, because we spend too much time trying to connect with people over social media. That, like, those human interactions, I feel like, are really what we all desperately need. Alrighty. So I think, the sugar and the icing on top, that was good reasons of why you should. There's actually health benefits to why you should run, or if you run, what comes with them. Because a lot of people will say, oh, running's bad for you, blah, 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 but it's also depending on how you run. There's a book, Born to Run, really good book, and it talks about a guy who goes to a part in South America, I'm pretty sure, and there's a people who basically, they run like barefoot, and they run fast and over like inhumanly long distances. And it puts it in perspective that, like, running's in our genes. Like, our ancestors long time ago ran, and our bodies are meant to do that, because when it was hunting and gathering, we had to run. And the way our legs are built, they're kind of like springs. So when you land, you'll kind of land on the ball of your foot first, and then what it'll do is it'll compress to your ankle, to your knee, and then into your thigh. So it's almost like when you're running, you're absorbing the impact on the ground into your legs in like the proper way. So instead of like slamming it down, it's just like whoosh, and then you spring off. So it's actually way better for your joints and for everything. but some physical benefits that running actually has that I've seen as well is better heart health. I realize that the more I run, I could run fast and longer, but my heart rate stays down. And building that cardiovascular health is actually really, really good for you, especially if I'm pretty sure it's if you hold more visceral fat or you tend to be a bit more overweight, getting that cardio really helps, because I think that's the one thing that does affect those who end up carrying a little bit of extra weight, because it's all over them, it's all over their lungs, their heart, their organs and stuff like that. When you build, the heart's pumping and you're able to get proper blood flow. I mean, it ends up making you healthier, and you don't feel like I'm so tired by walking. You just feel like you could walk forever. Increased stamina. Again, I think that's kind of self-explanatory, because the more you run, the longer you can run for. I think it also ties in with cardiovascular health, because well, now all of a sudden you could take more air in and use it more effectively, or you could run off of the air that you have in your body, so you don't really have to pant about it, but you're just effectively using the oxygen that you're breathing in. Stronger legs, yes, and core, depending on if you're running the correct way. Better sleep, and I've noticed it's the same with any physical activity. When you work yourself out and get rid of all the energy that your body has, when you go to sleep, you'll actually sleep. Sometimes when you're going to sleep and you're restless, it's because your body still has unused energy that it needs to get rid of, and doing a physical activity like that helps exude a lot of that excess energy. So when you get to bed at night, all of a sudden you're just tuckered and you crash and you sleep for 9 hours, and it's the best sleep you've ever had in your life. And then another one, which I mentioned, that's a different category, sorry. And then more daily energy. I feel like it kind of works together, because let's actually Google why running gives you more daily energy. Let's see, it says it boosts oxygen circulation, producing more mitochondria and releasing endorphins that enhance mood and mental alertness, so you feel really good. So it really does kind of do both. It gets rid of some of the excess energy, creates a positive mindset and mood, so you can go throughout the day with good energy, but when you crash, you don't have any of that excess energy because you're not holding on to anything. There's a bunch of mental benefits, like I was saying. Anxiety and depression, it helps with that. It helps with better focus because you're in your brain. I also noticed it improves your confidence, because when you could do something that hard, you just feel really good that I'm pretty confident in myself that I could do this, and you want to talk about it. I love talking about running. I think that's the only thing I've been talking about recently, especially to family and friends, is how much I really enjoy to run. Better mood, like we just read, and again, reduce stress. So it's got a lot of good benefits to it if you go in with the mindset of this is going to be fun, this is going to help me. It builds resilience, teaches patience, it improves self-respect because you end up creating better habits for yourself, and it creates momentum in other areas of your life, which I feel like it helps with better focus, because then the focus translates into if you're wanting to read, or there's a project you're working on, or the better mood, and you strengthen relationships. I just feel like running benefits you a lot, and when you prove to yourself that you can run through the discomfort, you start believing you can handle discomfort in every aspect of your life. So I don't know if the reasons why I enjoy running and the health benefits that running hasn't convinced you enough to run. Here's some more, okay? You don't need to be a runner to start running. I said it. You don't have to be a runner. You never have to run in your life to start running, because anyone can do it. Slowly jogging at a 12-minute pace is running. Then, before you know it, you've done that, 3 times a week for 2 months? You find yourself running at a 10-minute pace for a couple miles, and now you're a runner, the same kind of runner that you were thinking that you could never be. Walking and running counts. So if you do I'll run for, a quarter of a mile and walk for a bit and then run and then walk, that counts as running because you're still doing it. Your heart rate's elevated. You're working on the blood flow. You're working on all these things. And that's where I started. I used to start I could barely run a mile before I had to stop. And now for some reason I could run 4 at a faster pace than I've ever been able to run before. So it's insane how far you can come with running. Again, like I said, it's low cost, it's accessible. You could do it really anywhere. Outdoors, on sidewalks, on roads, there's trails. Trail running is pretty freaking wicked. It's intense, but that's a good walk run. But again, you just really need shoes to start running. And then anything after that's kind of like an added bonus of, I'm gonna get really breathable shorts and a shirt or whatever. I'm gonna get a chest pack that holds some, gummies or water or something like that. Like anything beyond that is just for the love of the game. But really all you need is just shoes to run. And I love running shoes. I think sometimes they're actually kind of like fashionable and sick. So yeah, if I talk more about running shoes, I might actually buy some after this episode. And again, I feel like I said, anyone can do it. It's a very beginner-friendly thing because what I've noticed with running that kind of the gym doesn't necessarily do as much is with running, people are less judgmental on anyone who starts. I feel like for the gym, there's people who are like, well, I'm jacked, I'm wham, you're weak or you're fat or blah, 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 screw you, like that's embarrassing. But I feel like I've never seen a runner look at anybody who's trying to run and be like, look at them, they're walk running, they can't even run that fast. I don't think I've seen anybody who does that. And honestly, I know this is about running, this episode's about running, but when I've been bouldering, it's kind of been the same thing. I've never really seen anybody judge anybody for it. They're watching you to see how you approach the climb, and a lot of people are super friendly. So it's kind of like, you just need to get over yourself to start running. It changes more than your fitness. Again, better mindset, confidence. It builds a routine and structure because when you go out and you do these things and you feel really good because you've done what feels like the impossible, well, now all of a sudden reading a book or doing the laundry, or who else knows, if you want to get better at cooking, like you could build other habits, because compared to running, everything doesn't seem as bad until you get addicted to running, and now all of a sudden it's just like, I don't want to do anything but run. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm providing a pretty good case in point for you guys to start running. Yeah, I don't know. So first run will definitely be hard, and that's okay because you're starting something new. Your body's not used to running and doing that much physical exercise and breathing that heavy, but all you need to do is just start. Get any pair of running shoes. It could be one of those ones where you could borrow someone's running shoes and try running, and just honestly, I'd say run once or twice a week for a month straight before you decide if running's for you or not, because I think that gives you enough time to decide, you know what, I actually kind of feel myself progressing and it's actually been a bit more fun. Then you can invest in your own shoes, and then there you go. Or you could just buy some cheap ones and do that. But I honestly think you need to give it a fair shot, because 1 or 2 runs isn't going to really help solidify whether running is for you or not. But I think if you do it a couple of times a week for about a month straight and you see the progress you've made, heck yeah. And if you know anybody who runs, run with them, because then you'll talk when you run, and before you know it, your run's over. You've been talking the entire time, and you did surprisingly way better than you thought. So there's a lot of good aspects to help get you into running. You just need to do it. You don't start as a runner. You become one by starting. So I think the best way, some beginner tips to get into it. I mean, I would consider myself still a beginner, but I'm pretty avid about running. I'd say the walk-run intervals, it's okay. Start off with 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes if you're feeling very out there, but I'd say just do a walk run. do a light run, get a fitness band, like a fitness watch to track, because it'll tell you how fast you're running to see what your mile pace is. And I'd say just run lightly, do a light jog. And then if you feel your body getting tired, or you feel breathing's heavy, or your legs are hurting, or whatever, stop and walk for a minute. Just walk for a minute or two and then pick it back up and start running again. It's one of those things of you just got to get used to the action of it, because then when you get to the point where I could run a little bit longer, then the mentality is something you want to work on. But in the beginning, the mentality is going to be crap regardless. So just keep doing it. Just do the walk runs for about 15, 20 minutes. I'd also say focus on consistency. Don't focus on the fact that you're not fast, because honestly, an 11-minute mile isn't really that slow. You feel super slow doing it, but in the end, it's like, you're kind of cooking. So focus on the consistency of doing your walk run once or twice a week and doing that for a month. And don't really worry about how fast you're going, because the speed will come naturally. When your body's acclimated to it, your lungs have acclimated to it, you'll find yourself naturally finding that comfortable pace, getting faster and faster and faster. Like for me, that's how it's been. My comfortable pace was like an 11:30 to 12-minute mile. And now I'm running at like a 9:30 to 10-minute mile at a comfortable pace. I just find myself naturally accelerating and like staying at that speed. So just consistency is the biggest thing. You just need to run enough to build a habit. It says here to run 3 times a week. You don't really need to run 3 times a week. I'd say 2 to 3, because that way it gives you a little leeway of, if you're not able to hit 3, that's fine because you ran 2 times, but try to keep that 2 to 3 times a week. And then honestly, if you're like really into it, hey, I'm going to begin, and regardless of how much I'm going to struggle the first month, I want to continue running for the benefit of it. I would say go to running stores, or if you're in Utah, Salt Lake Running Co. That's a good place to go get your gait measured to see how you land on your feet and get the proper running shoe for you. So go get the proper fitting for everything so you can get the correct running shoes, because some people, they may have foot problems, so they need more comfort, or like me, I like to run kind of on a little bit more cushiony of like zero drop, which is supposed to be just enough cushion to not ruin your feet, but you're supposed to feel the ground a bit more. And that's been working out like my calves a lot. But just make sure you go and find the right shoe that fits for you, so then when you run, you can prevent certain injuries that a lot of beginners may run into. And again, remember, the first 2 weeks, I guess it says the first 2 weeks, but I'd say the first couple of runs are going to be the hardest. You're not gonna really enjoy it. And that's okay, because you got the mindset of, I'm starting this. And maybe you should have the mindset of, I'm also gonna finish this regardless. So I think that's a really good thing to hold on to, of, I'm doing this for the health, and I'm gonna continue it regardless of how hard it is. And go into each run being, I'm gonna do it, but this is gonna be really hard. Because it's like, expect the worst, like prepare for the worst, but expect the best, right? So you're ready for it to suck, but maybe it's not gonna suck as bad as you thought, and then the run ends up being good, and now you're motivated, and the next time you have that motivation into the run, it may suck, but you still have the motivation to get you through it, boom, 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 and then before you know it, you're in love with running. So I just feel like, it's a good thing to start and get into. Running will not solve every problem, but it will make you stronger, clearer mentally, healthier, and more confident when you solve them. If you've been waiting for a sign to start running, this is your sign. Join me and really basically anybody everywhere. Get a pair of running shoes, get out there and run. And the best thing that I like is get Strava. I'll put my Strava link in the description of this episode, but get Strava, because you could post your runs on Strava if you have like a fitness band, and it's just nice to see that people support you. People will like your run, And they like it because it's like you're doing something, you're making the progress. And then when you see, okay, you could scroll back to runs from a month ago and see all the progress you've made, like you just realize that you're a freaking beast and you know you could do it. So, I don't know, man. It's a slow, ugly start, but you just need to start. You just need to get out there, you need to start running and fall in love with it. There's no reason you shouldn't fall in love with it. So if you run already, comment why you love running. If you're going to start because of this episode, or you've been thinking about starting, this episode pushed you to start, let me know. And share this with somebody who needs the motivation to start running, because we all need some support to get going. But once you get going, don't stop, because it's just that amazing. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. For hot takes, I don't really have any other than I think running is better than cycling, so bite me. And any detours that I had in this week that threw me off, not really any. Honestly, this week's kind of been smoothly. Surprisingly, it's been smooth. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. It was a fun one. I like to talk about my passions and kind of what I'm into, and hopefully get some people on to the same thing and, see where it goes, just because I've seen the benefits of running, and I feel like people could benefit a lot from it as well. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe. Again, comment if you do run and why you love running, or if you're starting running, and just tell me, why you might want to start. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell, because, you don't want to miss all these juicy episodes every week with your boy and his co-host, Arlo's Butt, because that's all that seems to be in frame. And if you're listening on Spotify, give me a follow. I have noticed the Spotify, group, the troop is building up there. All right, everybody follow. And don't forget to leave a rating, because we are the best up and coming podcast that is ever to be seen on this platform. So give me a rating that you believe this podcast deserves. I believe it's 5 stars, but I'll leave that up to you. And until next week, ladies and gentlemen, much love.